Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. Deontay Wilder appears on ESPN's First Take today. He says after he knocks out Luis Ortiz, him and the fans are going to smoke Anthony Joshua out of there. Stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family we working. Now, Deontay Wilder appeared on ESPN's First Take. Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman are the hosts. And he talked about his fight Saturday. Showtime, boxing, be there, be square. I call it March Madness because the heavyweight division, it's all about that March Madness. We got Luis Ortiz taking on Deontay Wilder. You got Joshua fighting at the end of the month versus Joseph Parker in a unification. And you have Dillian White versus Lucas Brown, right? So on this, it's a lot that Deontay Wilder covered. So I should have took notes, but I'm just going to freestyle it off of memory. Basically, Wilder's talking about the importance of his upcoming fight with Luis Ortiz, saying that it means a lot because it implies his future. You know what I mean? He has to get past Luis Ortiz, obviously, to continue pursuing a unification with the winner of Joshua versus Parker, right? He says Luis Ortiz, he was breaking down basically what I told you guys. Is when fighters get busted for diuretics or blood pressure medicine or hypertension, things like that, some of those things are used as masking agents. So there's still kind of an asterisk, and it becomes cloudy when they test positive, because even though you're testing positive for a diuretic, for example, sometimes people who are actually taking PEDs, right, they flush their system out with a diuretic. So you'd rather get caught for the lesser of the two infractions. And he's basically saying we're dealing with people that are chemists, scientists. They know what they're doing. They know what beats the test. You know what I mean? Because they know what's being looked for. And you see, that's what some people don't understand. And I'm not a doctor myself. I'm not a chemist or anything like that. But you have to understand that sometimes, like I was watching Forensic Files, right? They did an autopsy. Or I don't even think it was an autopsy. It was a person who got ill, violently ill. And they didn't know what was wrong with her. They're like, man, she's just incredibly sick. She had no history of heart conditions or kidney failure or anything, right? So they're wondering what happened to her. But the reason, as the episode progressed, the reason she grew violently ill is her spouse was giving her arsenic, like antifreeze or arsenic, right? And putting it in their meals. So the point being is they weren't testing for arsenic because they didn't suspect poisoning. So that's how a lot of tests work. You have to know what you're looking for and know what you're checking for, right? And if you're not testing for certain things, then you might not. So that's basically what Wilder was saying. These chemists and scientists, they know what the tests are looking for and they know how to beat the test, period. And this is kind of a proven fact because some of the people who have turned state's evidence and testified in big cases and stuff, they beat the test and they kind of explain doing it and giving Olympians different peds and different things like that. So he talked about that, and then he basically said, I don't really care at this point. I don't care what Luis Ortiz did in the past. It's over. Now we're fighting. Let's get it. Then he talks about Anthony Joshua. Stephen A. Smith asked him, he said, hey, I talked to you before. You believe that Joshua was running from you? And Wilder basically reiterates it. He says, I don't think they want to fight me. Between him and his promoter, I don't think they're really chasing it. He says Anthony Joshua, he's milking the cow. Here, Annabelle, right? And he says he's milking the cow. Basically, they can make money. They can sell 60 to 80,000 seats fighting whoever. So what would be the incentive to fight someone as dangerous as Wilder? You know what I'm saying? That's basically what he's alluding to by saying milking the cow. And he says, I'm not new to this. Like Drake said, I'm not new to it, right? He says, this is not something like I just came through the ranks and I just start calling this man out. He says, I've been calling him out for 2 years and I'm a champion. So he says, after I knock out Luis Ortiz, then me and the fans. And he said, if my voice is not powerful enough on his own, between me and the fans, we're going to smoke Anthony Joshua out. So definitely some big words said from Deontay Wilder. Listen, I'm going to keep saying the same thing. Y'all can say whatever you want. But I'm feeling Wilder's attitude towards this whole game. He appears hungry, and just kind of like what Errol Spence did. He says, Errol Spence said after his Lamont Peterson fight, if people think that I'm easy to beat, there's vulnerabilities, they can exploit this and that, call Al Heyman. You know what I mean? And Wilder's basically said the same thing in terms of issuing a challenge. If you don't like me, you don't like what I'm talking about, you don't like what I'm saying, do something. Do something about it. Like, shut me up. He's like, I want someone to shut me up. Those are his words exactly. You know what I mean? So the challenge has been issued. You gotta do something, baby. All right, bottom line. So again, until otherwise proven, let's say Saturday Luis Ortiz beats Deontay Wilder, hypothetically. I still salute Deontay Wilder because he's still willing to fight a motherfucker that nobody really wanted to fight. Luis Ortiz, let's not forget, was Joshua's mandatory, right? And there was little to no interest. Luis Ortiz has had a name in the division for some time, and there was little to no interest in mad people fighting him. Like, I'm not going through the whole list of heavyweights, but he always had to fight the Tony Thompsons and Malik Scotts and stuff because he couldn't get the bigger names. Tyson Fury, Klitschko, AJ, right? So, I mean, I commend Wilder for stepping up, not once, but twice. And after the first fight fell apart, he could easily use that as an excuse. Like, man, I'm not fighting this guy. And just label him a cheat and keep it pushing. That's why in this First Take interview, link in the description, shout out to ESPN, Max Kellerman said, spoken like a true champ, like a true fighter. Because that's, again, what I'm telling you guys, I'm commending Wilder for. He is speaking like a true champion and a true fighter. Whether he can beat Joshua like he believes and different stuff like that, he's still talking that talk, and I respect that until otherwise proven. And like I said, even if hypothetically he loses to Luis Ortiz, he still stepped up. People forget to give credit like that. Luis Ortiz is a good fighter, so if you lose to him, there's no shame in losing to another good fighter with power. It's not like Ortiz is not a Cuban decorated amateur. You know what I mean? It's not like Luis Ortiz is 5'8" and, you know what I mean, 208 pounds. You know what I'm saying? We know he's a threat. And I'm not saying this as a cop-out. I'm picking Wilder to beat Luis Ortiz. So I'm not backing off the block and like, oh, I'm trying to save my prediction. I don't really care about stuff like that. I'm picking Wilder to beat Luis Ortiz. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But either way, I give props to Luis Ortiz and Wilder for taking this opportunity, especially Wilder, because as a champion, especially when someone has 2, 1.5, or whatever you want to call it, failed PED tests, then you could easily, as a champion, use that as a back door to not fight that motherfucker. You know what I mean? To fight, I'm fighting Amir Mansour instead. I'm fighting Dominic Brazil or somebody else, right? Because they have bad history. Dominic Brazil and him got into a fight after his fight versus Gerald Washington. They got in a fight in the lobby or whatever, or allegedly. So he could easily use all of these things as a scapegoat to have avoided Luis Ortiz, and he would be justified, right? But he's not doing that. And like I said, he's talking that talk. He says in this ESPN interview, they say Anthony Joshua is the best. He says he don't really say that because I don't know if he believes that. I don't know if he has the confidence to believe that he is the best. But I'm saying I'm the best. And people are saying he's the best. So the best need to fight the best. You know what I mean? He says, I commend Joshua for what he's accomplished in the amount of time, amount of fights he has. He has star power and that stuff. But the best need to fight the best. So again, I can't think of too many reasons where those things should not be celebrated. Like, this is what all fans claim that they want. Like, this is how you know racism and different things exist in the world of boxing. Because when Floyd Mayweather is in the latter part of his career, they say, oh, he's just picking fights because he's Money Mayweather and this, that, and he has a boring style. He's a runner, right? Okay, Deontay Wilder don't have a boring style. He's knocking motherfuckers' heads off. Is he technical and fundamentally as sound as Floyd Mayweather? Absolutely not. But I thought you didn't like the fundamentals, and I thought you didn't like the technique because it was putting on boring performances according to those people. So Wilder is the opposite of that. You know what I mean? Him and Floyd have a common denominator, both trash talk. So they both got that villainous personality, or whatever you want to call it, with the trash talk and banter, right? And yet again, people still find a reason not to like Wilder. He's a knockout artist. Why? What don't you like? You know what I mean? And then when they perceive, and this is bullshit, and this I'm just proving that it's bullshit. When they said they hated Floyd, he waited till people got out of prime. He waited till Pacquiao, even though Pacquiao's fucking younger, he waited till Pacquiao got old and wrinkled, and then he wanted to fight him, man. He waited till Shane Mosley got out, even though he called him out after his performance when he wasn't even at welterweight. You know what I mean? He called out Costa Tszyu, De La Hoya, Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley said something's wrong with his tooth. But you got to know your boxing to even understand anything I'm saying right now. Anyway, that's what they claim. Oh, Floyd, he waited till Pacquiao was old and dilapidated, right? Well, guess what? Deontay Wilder's calling out not an old and dilapidated Anthony Joshua. He's calling out a prime Joshua who just recently beat Vladimir Klitschko, you know what I mean, by knockout, which was his coming of age type of fight. And they say he has a better resume. He has the most belts at heavyweight. If he beats Joseph Parker, he'll really have the most belts at heavyweight. So which one is it? You were mad when Floyd fought these guys that you perceive to be out of prime, even though he would have beat him no matter what, right? But they're out of prime to you, so you're mad at it. Now Wilder's calling out an in prime, in shape, hungry champion with all the belts, aka best versus the best. And then they find all these reasons and excuses why Wilder shouldn't get the fight. Oh, he's begging. He's just looking for a payday. He deserves a 10% split. Give Joshua 90% of the pot. Just ridiculous things like that. So which one is it? You want the best versus the best, or you want to pick and choose? Let me know what you guys think. Shout out to Wilder. Shout out to Luis Ortiz. March 3rd, it goes down. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.